Please like and subscribe to my channel. Once I reach 1000 subscribers I will get a mic and you will hear my voice when I'm not traveling. The first story is by u/imaginary broccoli 6. EM tells me to not drink alcohol because I'm too young, I'm 18 and legal. This happened a few minutes ago and I'm trying to process this peace mind year. So me and my dad were drinking and talking when a mom came up to me and started talking. EM, hey you, stop drinking beer, you're too young. Me, no I'm not, I'm 18, and since my dad is here I'm allowed. EM, I don't care, stop drinking. You're setting a bad influence on my child. Me, your child is sitting with his iPad, he doesn't seem to care. EM, stop drinking or I'll make you. Me, touch me and you will regret it. She walked away and when I was taking another sip she grabbed the beer bottle as I was drinking and it spilled all over me. Me, WTHEM, are you crazy? EM, I warned you. D, you're going to reimburse us for that beer. EM, I won't do such a thing, your son is an irresponsible moron. He should have a better parent, you lowlife. Then my dad punched her directly in the face and I thought I saw a tooth but I can't be too sure. Sadly however my dad got kicked out by the bar manager, but was brought back in but instead they dragged the EM out and threw her outside. The bar manager reimbursed us with 2 free beers and EM had to go elsewhere. Her child however was still in the bar. I don't know what happened to the kid because when I left the kid was still there. Don't worry, I told the bar manager about the kid and he said he called the authorities. No arrest, no fights, kinda, and that's about it. Not going to put a TLDR as the story is pretty short. BTW, this happened in a small bar in Germany, on holiday hehe. Posted by u/Carson Pendergast. Entitled Homophobe Dad Lat Axe Me, Gets Karma in 10 Minutes Flat. So, I work at a coffee shop called Bedlam, where we get 30 to 45 minutes breaks, so, of course I got into deep shit during my break. Cast, me, Aslan the Lion BF, boyfriend ED, take a guess EK, surprise, it's entitled Kid. PO, police officer. So, I was at my work, when I went on break, and decided to hang out with my boyfriend, since he had taken a couple vacation days off from his work, a hospital BTW. We began to chat, he said something nice and I gave him a peck on the cheek, and a dad came over, and this is basically the conversation. ED, disgusting. Me, what? Ed, you heard me, I have a son here, you need to stop. BF, screw off. A few minutes later. ED, now. Me, huh. All of a sudden his little shit comes out of nowhere and punches me in the stomach. The dad then grabs my throat and tries to punch me in the face. Keyword, tried. My boyfriend, who is quite jacked I tell you, grabs his arm, and pins him to the ground. EK, FT. A 13-year-old, I remind you. He grabs my DMC necklace and tries to garrote me. It started going black, until a random dude grabbed the kid's shirt and pulled him off. In a few minutes, and a lot of my tears, the police arrive. PO, what happened? ED, I wanted coffee, while this fag was kissing his boyfriend. Po, your side of the story, sirs. My boyfriend explains I was on break, and this guy attacked me. That's a lie. I never touched them. A few minutes later, the ED is stuffed in a cop car and taken away. When they asked if we wanted to file charges, my BF said yes, but I just wanted to forget about it. So we didn't. Edit. This may be in the wrong section, if so please say some place where it might work. First background, I can't swim to save my life. So I wear goggles and a nose plug. Despite not knowing how to swim, I love going to the pool. Cast ED, entitled Dad EB, entitled Brat at least 10 AG, adorable girl about 4 BF, boyfriend LG, lifeguard me, major elite. Some summers ago, BF and I went to the pool. Fairly early to avoid long lines and kids. Sadly both were there. I changed quickly to my bathing suit, goggles, nose plug and hair cap. Since BF was still changing, I sat in the shallow/kiddie pool. Tons of kids playing and splashing but I didn't really care. AG walked over to me. AG, excuse me. Can you play with me? Me, sorry no, where are your parents? AG shrugs and asks again. Me, how about we sit here and wait for your parents? AG nods and start talking to me about Dora. While she's talking I signal LG. He makes the announcement about a missing girl. After 20 minutes, Ed walks up to us looking angry. AG gets up and runs to him. AG, Daddy. ED picks her up and leaves but not before glaring at me. I thought that was the end. BF shows up and we go to the big pool. We have fun for a few hours. BF tries and fails to teach me to swim. He then goes to the deep end to jump off the diving board. He waits on line for his turn. I wade to 8 feet, holding onto a thick float rope connected to a pillar in the pool. BF looked at me in horror. EB climbed on top of the pillar and tackled me. I banged my arm on the floor, and cut my head and back. EB ripped off my goggles, scratching my face, and cap and swam away. I could barely see, let alone reach the surface. BF and LG hurried to help me out. While LG did CPR, BF called 911. When he was done, he went to look for EB. BF told me what happened later. While the other LGS were escorting PPL out of the pool, EB ran to the kiddie pool and gave AG my stuff. BF punched him and EB started crying. ED, what the F? BF, tell your brat to give my girlfriend back her shit. He nearly drowned her. ED, F you. Tell your pedo bitch to stay away from my daughter. Be lucky that's all my son did. The two fought until pool security kicked them out. Outside BF and ED were still yelling at each other. When the paramedics arrived, they took me to the ambulance. AG and EB's mom was outside, mad she had the leave pool, saying it was my fault. She quickly changed her tune when she saw the cops. She desperately apologized for her family and offered to get us pizza in exchange for not getting the police involved. Too late B. At the hospital, I had a concussion and need stitches. They asked me if I wanted to press charges. I immediately said yes. The cops left to get EB. He only got 2 months of juvie and community service, and his parents paid my hospital bills. I'm happy to say him and his family are still banned from the pool. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Once I reach 1000 subscribers I will get a mic and you will hear my voice when I'm not traveling. Thank you so much for the supportive comments and upvotes on my first story everyone. So I had a reader ask me, what's your second worst story about Linda? I would have to say, my rank second worst experience with Linda was when I was 19, so only a couple of years before the events of my dad's heart attack. At the time, I was still living at home at my dad's, trying to manage a job and figure out a way to continue schooling. This was when I decided that my efforts were just not enough to get a better education at this rate, so I opted to join the military. My dad was very proud of my decision. He was a former army soldier, and the military was a pretty big thing in my extended family. Despite choosing the US Navy as my branch, my dad said it was great that I wanted to contribute to the family tradition. Linda, surprisingly, also appeared happy at the announcement that I had signed the papers to enlist. I was pretty sure she was only happy because this meant that she would finally be rid of me. Now, for those of you who don't know, when you enlist in the military, you have to attend MEPS, Military Entrance Processing Station, to undergo some basic medical, written, and mental exams to ensure you are healthy, stable, and what kind of jobs you are qualified to select from based on your SFOB, Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery Test, score. This process at MEPS takes about a full day to undertake, sort of like your first test of prolonged stress. Before you begin, you and other selected enlisted in the local area are rounded up and taken to a hotel to stay the night before heading into the MEPS building first thing in the morning. On the evening for me to leave to undergo my testing at MEPS, I packed up an overnight bag, and hopped in my dad's truck as he drove me off to my pickup point at the recruiter's office. He gave me a big hug and again told me that he was proud of what I was doing. The recruiter gave my dad the time that MEPS should be finished, and the location so he could pick me up. My dad promised me he would be there early to see my swearing in. I was brimming with my own pride at this point and happy that my dad was being so supportive. All the recruits boarded a bus, and I waved from my window to my dad as we headed off into the night. Everyone was pretty anxious with various emotions as we traveled to Denver. I, personally, felt calm, knowing that no matter what turned out from this testing process at MEPS, my dad was going to be there. The recruits were all given dinner at the hotel, and 2 people to a room as assigned. I went to bed shortly after dinner, while most of the others stayed up all excited, nervous and chatting away about what they wanted to do in the military. The recruiters woke everyone up at 5 a.m. promptly, got us a quick breakfast, and then walked us over into the MEPS building. I won't go into all the details since it was a very long process of tests, lots and lots of tests. About 16 total hours of nothing but tests. I was dead on my feet when the time finally came to raise my right hand, and repeat the swearing-in oath. I did perk up some energy though, because when I was marched into the room, I saw my dad sitting among the other parents who came to witness the swearing-in. He was true to his word, as always. My dad, my hero. After the swearing-in, I hugged my dad, and we went to the truck to drive home. My official day to ship off to boot camp was set for a few months away, so we had time to prepare and have some additional quality time before I left on my life adventure. On the way home, my dad kept praising my decision, and boosting my morale all the way home, but what stuck the most with me, and meant the most was when he said, "No matter where you go, or what you may face out there, kiddo, just remember. You will always have a home to return to." I can't describe how happy I was when he said those words. I lived through a lot of emotional and mental grief, battled depression, and for a long time, I truly felt I had no place in the world because I was always the odd one out. The black sheep. The weird one. The only time I felt welcomed was when I was hanging out with my closest friends, but at this time, many of them had gone to college or also joined the military before me. Being assured that I have some place to return to gave me a heart filled with hope. And it felt awesome. As we drove home, Dad and I talked about things we should do before I leave. Plans like going fishing, hiking, seeing some movies together, and just having the best time bonding. We pulled into the driveway in high spirits, talking about what to have for dinner and other random things, just having a good time. We both walked upstairs so I could put my overnight bag in my room, and at the top, we were stopped at the sight of Linda, pushing my bedroom furniture out of my room. We just stood there, in shock. Linda stopped pushing my dresser and looked up, and the second she saw me standing there, she became enraged. "What is she doing back here? She's not supposed to be here," Linda demanded, looked from me, to my dad with anger. I just turned and looked at my dad, my eyes still wide and now were filled with doubt. My dad could just read my look, and told me to go downstairs. I dropped my overnight bag, and went downstairs, out the door, and to my car. I left, in tears, heading to a local park where my friends and I would normally hang out, but at this time it was only me and I just cried. Thoughts of anxiety and doubt raced through my mind. A home to return to. What home? Where can I go? I don't leave for another couple months. What am I supposed to do now? I can't go back. Linda always ruins everything. She's going to make Dad kick me out too. For context, Linda manipulated my dad into kicking my sister out because she was a troubled teen and too rebellious. I was at the park crying for about an hour and a half. The sun had gone down and it was dark now. I was sitting in my car, hungry and depressed. I knew I had to go back, but I really did not want to see Linda. I didn't want to hear Linda. I didn't want to even be aware of Linda. The only reason I did go back was because I wanted to believe in my dad. I could see lights on in the house, so I assumed Dad and Linda were in the kitchen or eating dinner. I walked quietly into the house, and up the stairs. My furniture had been returned to my room, so I went ahead and locked myself in. My dad must have heard me when I flopped on the bed, because he knocked on the door only minutes later, asking me to open up. I rolled off the bed and opened it slowly. "Sorry, Dad," I said solemnly. "But I'm really not." I couldn't finish. Dad just walked up and hugged me. He apologized for what Linda had done, and told me about how they argued about what she was doing. Dad told me that Linda assumed that when I left for MEPS, that this meant I was off to boot camp that day. She was basically caught in the act of converting my bedroom into her personal display room for her Barbie collection. Dad said there was no way, and this made Linda lock herself in their room and throw a tantrum. Dad had pushed my furniture back himself, and just left Linda to stew. I was actually shocked. For most of these years that he was married to Linda, Dad always took Linda's side when it came to any conflicts that rose up between her and his daughters. When I confronted my dad on this when I was younger, he said, "I am a man, and I have to stand by my wife." But this time, the tables were turned, and for once, Dad was taking my side. For once, Linda didn't win. Dad said he stands by the promises he made on the drive home. He will always make sure I have a place to come home to, and feel safe, and that he was proud of me. I took a lot of comfort in that, and it helped me feel better. He invited me down for some dinner, and I joined him while Linda sulked in their room for the rest of the night. TLDR, I joined the Navy. Linda assumed my bedroom was forfeit, and my dad is my hero. Sorry for the lack of action and yelling on my part, but before I joined the Navy, I was quiet, timid, and struggling with anxiety and depression, the perfect person Linda could bully and push around to her whim. The Navy turned me into a hard-ass, confident, B who didn't take BS from anyone anymore, and Linda just was not able to handle the fact that I was able to stand up to her without fear. So, this is what I considered to be my second worst experience with Linda. Just the fact that she was able to break down all my confidence and securities upon my return home like that, it was severely traumatizing to me. I really did think my dad would take her side like he always did, and break all his promises to me, just to appease his wife. Maybe it was all the pride he had felt for me. Or maybe because I was his baby girl. Maybe both reasons. I don't know, but I was happy to know he really did have my back, and he showed nothing but 100% support to me through all my 14 years of service. Yes, this was a bad experience with Linda, but it was also a strong and bonding moment for my dad and I. Despite all the bad choices and mistakes my dad made while he was married to Linda, I forgave him. When it was most important, he was there for me, more than anyone else in the family. So, this one ends on a somewhat wholesome note for my dad and I. As for Linda, that whore can kiss my rump. Note, in case folks are curious, why didn't your dad try to call you to make sure you were okay? Or why didn't your dad call you to tell you to come home? This was 1999, and cell phones were not as commonplace as they are now. The only cell phone in the family was owned by my dad, and it was only supposed to be used for emergencies. Winky face. Note 2, just realized Father's Day is near. Hope this story warms some hearts and encourages others to give thanks to their supportive dads, or moms. Give love to all the supportive parents. Smiley face. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Once I reach 1000 subscribers I will get a mic and you will hear my voice when I'm not traveling.